Okay, stick around with me as we tour Savannah Citrus here in Savannah, Georgia. Over 400 of different kinds of citrus trees. And we'll learn a little bit about some things we didn't know before.
Hey, this is Tom again back in Savannah Citrus. Here's something that you really need if you're going to grow some great trees of any kind. Weather station right in your own backyard. This one comes from La Crosse Company. But there's a lot of manufacturers out there. Solar powered, tells me how fast the wind is blowing, tells me if it's raining, keeps track of the humidity level, and what direction is the wind coming from. Great information to know, helps me with my management of all my trees, all kinds of fruit trees.
Over 300 trees in the citrus grove, and you know they're gonna get some fruit when they got these bees out here. Let's check it out. Look at them go. They're working. Bees are working. It bees like nobody's business. Oh yes. Nothing like having the pollinators on your citrus grove here.
Hey, this is Tom over at Savannah Citrus. We take care of our pollinators pretty well around here. One of the things you're going to see is this plant. This is called a Spanish needle. When this flower dries, one of the ways it uses for a seed carrier is it hangs on clothing. It's got these little hooky things. That's why it's called needles. The pollinators, especially the honeybees, love it, and it blooms all season long. So that's why we keep them here on the property. The citrus trees only bloom for a few weeks, but this particular plant blooms all summer for us. We keep 74 in the blue tubs. Everything that grows in the ground out here, we grow what I call conventionally. If it needs a pesticide, we apply it. If it needs fertilizer, it gets it. And there's not a sunny day that goes by that we are not out here doing something to these trees. Our target is about 150, 200 pounds of fruit off of each tree. And to get that, you've got to work them hard, and we do. Everything that's in a blue tub is an organic tree. I sell a lot of fruit to bartenders, and bartenders like organic everything. Even though they don't even understand what they're asking for, we try to give it to them, but that's the difference. And we grow the organic trees in a tub because it's much easier to control the environment of a tree when it's in a tub. I know exactly what's in there. If the airplane flies over and God knows what they're doing, the trees are mostly in the greenhouse. I can be very particular about my pest control and my nutrition if it's in a tub. We're going to get started here. We're going to walk down to the far end of the property and then work our way back. It's so funny. We're like in an urban farm. We're surrounded by trees. Steve, you moved out here, what, 35 years ago?
32.
There was nobody here in the neighborhood who just kind of built up around us. So here we are. But I'm glad y'all are here today at Savannah Citrus. Two things to maintain awareness of parents. Number one is we have 9 beehives, so that's what, 90,000 bees?
180,000 right now.
We have a lot of bees here. Now the bees in the trees could not care less about you or I. They are really working hard. They don't care, so don't worry about them. But I want to make sure that everyone stays at least 20 feet away from the beehives. Don't go knocking on the beehives because I'll be the first one to run. Ants. We work hard at getting rid of the ants. You see little holes everywhere, little sprinkles everywhere. We're doing all we can. But keep your eye out for ants, and you'll see them. Ants they have big nose. But we have ants here, so don't let them run up. because they will sting you really bad. We've got some wet wipes over here if you think you need any, or some paper towels and things. Got almost all of them this week, but they're pretty industrious. There's a few more popping up. Keep your eyes out for ants and don't go banging on my honeybees. Let's go. It's called a Satsuma. A Satsuma is relatively new to the United States. Maybe they haven't been on the grocery store shelves, but maybe 5 or 6 years. Oddly enough, it was one of the first citruses grown in the colonies, but there was a big freeze in the late 1800s, killed all the trees. But anyway, so these are Satsuma trees, and we grow them for 2 reasons. This is a Satsuma right here. My number one favorite reason is because there's no thorns. Let me tell you, it's very nice because almost every other citrus tree has thorns. And the grapefruit trees have like ferocious thorns, like oh my God kind of thorns. But they have no thorns. Number 2, a Satsuma is an easy peeler like a tangerine. You know, and I've got some, we'll show you in a little bit. They peel real easy. It's a great snacky fruit. It's easy for kids. It has low acid. It's got a medium sugar. It's not a high sugar, medium sugar, but it has low acid, so it's very sweet. And that's what all of these, I've got about this first 40 trees, that's what they are. Citrus trees, they come in 3 sizes. The way that you adjust an orange tree's size, this is going to be a medium-sized tree. It's almost there. Orange trees are like grapes. Out in California, they have tops and bottoms. Rootstock that grows underground, and then the tops that grows the fruit. And they really, really have very little in common with each other. It's crazy. This particular tree, and you'll see a few more as we walk through here, the rootstock of this tree is called rubido. You'll never find, but you can Google it. It's called rubido. And a rubido tree grows about 10 feet tall. Tremendous grower, very hardy, drought resistant. Bugs, shakes off all the underground bugs pretty good. Fruit, not so much. Kind of like green rocks that never turn orange. They're not very good. So all we use is just the bottom of a rubido tree, the roots. And they got a graft. All right, help me out here, give me some room, right? All right, see this space right here? See this thing right here? Yeah, I know you can't see it, but that's where the bottom grafts onto the top of the tree. And if you spend a little time, you can tell that tree looks different from that's the line right there. And isn't that crazy? Look at those thorns.
You get that out, right?
Yeah. You see how that leaf has 3 leaves, right? It's not like this tree. This one, no thorns, and 1 leaf. So this is a limb coming up out of the rootstock. That's how different the trees are from each other. Isn't that crazy?
That's a bunch of thorns.
Isn't that amazing? But that's how disparagingly different the trees are. This tree, this particular tree right here is an Owari Satsuma, and it grows beautiful fruit. Like when you go, if you go to Kroger's and you buy a Satsuma and you see it's kind of squashed, like flat on the top, flat on the bottom, but really orange. That's this guy. Nice. Roots, not so much. They die real fast. So that's why we graft them. Tops and bottoms. This is an Owari Satsuma grafted onto rubido rootstock. These trees are 6 months in the ground. These are brand new little trees.
What kind is that?
This is another Satsuma tree. Right, this is an okitsu. This is an okitsu. Like Satsumas, there's like a dozen different kinds, and they have crazy names. But this is another Satsuma. It's called an okitsu. And it's on a rootstock called Flying Dragon. Oh, the dragon. That's why we have the dragon for our logo. Most of these trees are on Flying Dragon rootstock because it's really hardy for our latitude. You have to sort of, whatever your growing latitude is, you know latitude, right? Jimmy Buffett fan? Maybe not. Anyway, your latitude will tell you what rootstock you're going to use. You know, I talk a little bit about the trees have tops and bottoms. I have Satsumas on the tops, and then I have these things like rubidoes and flying dragons and rich 1016. They all have crazy names on the bottom. So those first trees we walked by, those trees are 6 months younger than these trees. See these little group of trees right here? They all look kind of small. That's because of the rootstock they're on. The top, it's hard to visualize, but if you could visualize, like from right about here up, the two trees are almost the same size. But from there down, this particular rootstock, this is the flying dragon rootstock, is a very slow growing rootstock. But it's very tolerant of cold. It comes from a very high altitude. It comes from China. All the good stuff comes from China, right? But this rootstock comes from China, and it's really good for cold weather. So this little group of trees right here is sort of like our insurance policy. And you'll see, like this one here, it's got fruit. You remember those guys up there? Not so much fruit.
Wow.
And even though the tree is small and kind of scrawny looking, it means nothing to the fruit. See all this? This is all fruit. This guy's gonna make some fruit. And that's all because the tops are the same. All because of the rootstock. Here's a graft line like on here. That's a graft line. When we get up here to some bigger trees, it'll be easier to see. Trees are from Texas A&M, and they grow on a rootstock called Kuharski. Don't worry about it. We'll jot it down. We'll get notes later. But as you can see, the bottom of this tree right here, that tree's big, and that's the graft joint of the tree. See how it gets really small right here? And that's the graft joint. Now that whole tree grafting thing is like Harry Potter to me. I've tried it, I'm telling you, 100 times, and every one of them's died. So I don't try it anymore. I just buy a tree, you know. I buy a tree because it works better for me. It costs a lot more, but it works better. These are tangerine trees. These guys grow a lot of fruit. You'll see these little green BBs on them. See right here? All these guys. Those are all tangerines. It takes 9 months. It's a long time. It takes 9 months to go from a flower to a fruit. 9 months. It's a long time. That's if nothing kills it along the way. Everything in God's world wants to eat an orange. Everything.
Is it cold hardy or not that?
Very cold hardy. This is an easy 25-degree tree.
Okay.
That was one of the things at Texas A&M, because it gets very cold in Texas. That's one of the things they do is a cold hardy tree, and it grows great, and it produces a lot of fruit. You guys come back. All the homeschoolers are coming back like in October, November. So y'all come back and the kids can pick fruit. You know the cooks like this because it has a thick rind, and they use that rind for baking a lot.
Oh, okay.
So they love these yuzu lemons. Now they have stupid thorns. I mean, they have the biggest thorn of anything I've ever grown. You know, 3-inch thorns.
And then what's those flowers there?
This is New Zealand white clover. I keep all the blue tubs. I grow New Zealand white clover in the bottom of the tubs because they absorb nitrogen from the air and store it in their root system, and it gives my citrus tree a slow but steady supply of nitrogen constantly, so I don't have to use as much nitrogen fertilizer. You can see I've got maybe 50 pieces of fruit on this little tree right here.
Awesome.
Yeah, this tree's 3 years old. It's a 3-year-old tree right here.
Okay.
I got one more fan I'm trying to get put off.
Greenhouse runoff.
Into the house.
This solar panel.
But it's amazing, if you ever think about getting a solar panel, even one that small produces a lot of juice. All right, so we're going into a greenhouse, right? It's going to be hot. And I'm going to talk fast because I'm not kidding. It's about 90 degrees in there. Everything in the greenhouse is a really expensive lemon or a lime. Limes cannot take cold at all. Like at 35 degrees, lime trees check out. They're done. I've got some trees called a variegated lemon in there. They'll go down to about 30 and then they die. And I can't afford to have them die because the fruit they produce goes for a lot of money. So I'll show you, and I'll talk real fast. And if anybody standing beside you asks a question, give them the answer. All right, you ready? All right, what's your name? Tyler? Kyler with a K. Hey, so we're walking through the greenhouse. This greenhouse holds all the lemons and limes, all the trees that have very low tolerance to cold. They live in here.
New Zealand on everything I see, huh?
Yeah, this is New Zealand white clover. I keep the New Zealand white clover on as many of these tubs as possible. It provides a slow and steady supply of nitrogen to the trees. You can see the trees all producing great flush all the time. These trees are 2 years old. These are some variegated lemons over here, variegated Eureka lemons. They're doing pretty good. Again, these trees are 2 years old. They've got the New Zealand white clover growing in here. Keeps that slow and steady supply of nitrogen going.
So basically you put in here lemons and limes?
Yes. These trees don't like the cold at all. These are Harvey lemons. This is a big yellow lemon similar to a grocery store lemon. These are Harveys. They're pretty cold resistant. This tree is only 1 year old, these four right here. But they're doing pretty good in these tubs. This medium that we've got them growing in, got a lot of sand, some perlite growing in there, a lot of bark, a little bit of above ground potting soil in there.
Oh, it's good. That's good to know.
These are all my limes coming back in here now. These are Rangpur limes. Rangpur lime is a cross between a lime and a mandarin, so it's going to be orange when it matures. This one's got a little bit of fruit growing on it. These trees are 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Rangpur will have an orange peel, but it'll still have the lime taste on the inside. These are the Australian finger limes coming on back in here. These are my Persian limes coming back in here. See, the school kids wiped out most of my Persian limes, but the Persians like it pretty good in here. They make fruit. I like Persians. See these? They make fruit year-round. The Persians constantly producing fruit. Keeps me at the market pretty good. So here's some more down here.
So the Persian lime tree will give you limes year-round?
Year-round.
Okay.
And I can go from a flower to a fruit in about 6-7 months from a Persian lime, and they're constantly making flowers. See, I got flowers coming here. Constantly making flowers, and they're constantly making fruits.
Oh, okay.
So they are
see that
steady money.
I see that it's open on this end and open on that end, so it's kind of screened in so that you can get the pollinators in here?
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
For now.
Just for the
And
spring.
is the winter-
In the winter, we wrap the entire greenhouse structure with another layer of poly.
So it's sealed, pretty
Right,
much. Yeah.
it is airtight sealed. Yeah.
Okay.
These are the Australian finger limes.
Finger limes.
Uh-huh.
Never heard of that one. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Are they cold hardy?
No, they are not particularly cold hardy.
Okay.
They're not particularly cold hardy. They grow kind of like a small, like a half-size jalapeno pepper.
Okay. All right.
Looking to see if I got a couple in here. I think my school kids cleaned me out again. Oh, here's a couple growing. See back in here. And this is where we get that citrus caviar, because they have little vesticules of lime inside there. They're really unusual fruit. Savannah citrus. I got a little something I want to show you. When you have a citrus grove or fruit orchard going around, you're going to be a lot of pruning, a lot of trees. You'll have a lot of limbs you need to burn up. We burn ours up to get all this ash out of it. We use this for potash to help with the fertilizer in our trees. There's no paper, no plastic, no trash, nothing like that goes into this burn barrel. This burn barrel here is dedicated specifically to burning limbs, hardwood limbs, that we'll use and apply around the base of our trees for potash. We apply this ash probably 3 times a year around the trees, and not directly on the tree touching it, but we'll make about a 16-inch circle around the tree, and the trees respond really well to it. Georgia, got a lemon I want to show you. This is a Grand Frost lemon variety produced by the University of Georgia. It's an I Chang lemon, big lemon, large, very cold hardy. This thing will go down. Well, we had 3 days of 19 degrees here in Savannah, Georgia over Christmas, and these trees are doing pretty good. Ready to produce some good fruit for us here. Produce a pretty fair crop, but these are I Chang lemons, very cold hardy, a big large juice lemon. And we're happy to have them here in our orange grove.
All right, this is how we finishing up our trip to Savannah before we get home. That's right. Right here. That's right.